Hello and welcome to A-Level Maths. Today's topic is binomial theorem. In this topic, we are going to learn what is the idea and intuition behind binomial theorem, and given any binomial expression, how are we going to expand that? Say for example, if you are having 1 plus x whole to the power of 7 or 3 plus x square whole to the power of 10, how are you going to expand all those things? And then we are going to take some solved examples based on the general term of the binomial expression and many such related examples. Stay tuned. So before diving into the actual topic, let me start from what you might already know. So you probably already know this formula, a plus b the whole squared, which is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. This you probably know. And you might also know this formula, a plus b whole cubed is equal to a cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared and plus b cubed. These two formula might already be known to you. But problem arises when the powers keeps on increasing. If I ask you to find out a plus b whole to the power of 4, you may not be remembering the formula. So what you might probably do is write down a plus b whole to the power of 4 as a plus b whole squared times a plus b whole squared, and then multiply these two terms and get the required expression on some further simplification. And if I give you even higher powers like a plus b whole to the power of 5 or a plus b whole to the power of 6, the problem goes on increasing. So the question arises, do we have any particular formula to find out any given power? So if I give you a plus b whole to the power of 10, can I just in one line write down the expansion of it? Is that possible? Yes, it is, and this is what we are going to deal with in this particular tutorial. So let me first tell you what is Pascal's triangle. Initially, this problem was a problem for all of the mathematicians. So Pascal came up with his famous triangle with the help of which you could find out these coefficients. So everything that you need is actually to find out these coefficients. So this is 1a squared, then plus 2ab, and then 1b squared. So the coefficients are 1, 2 and 1, and here the coefficients are 1, 3, 3, 1. So these are the coefficients that you actually need to determine, because otherwise the terms are more or less gives a certain pattern. So if you observe what are the patterns, the first pattern here is that if you write a plus b the whole squared, so it starts with a squared. That means this particular power goes on this particular term. So this 2 will go on a, so that is why a squared, and thereafter the powers of a will go on decreasing and powers of b will go on increasing. So in the first term we are having the power of a to be 2, which is this power, which is this 2, and then the powers of a goes on decreasing. So it is a square over here, it is a to the power of 1 over here, and a to the power of 0 at the end. That means actually there is no a, and b, the power of b goes on increasing. So there is b to the power of 0 in the first term, then b to the power of 1, and at the end it is b to the power of 2. Alright, so this is the pattern. If in the whole cube you will see the same pattern. It is a cube, that means this cube going on a, so it is a cube plus 3a squared, so that means the power of a decreases. So from 3 it goes to 2, then it goes to 1, and then there is no power, and initially the power of b is 0, then the power of b is 1, then the power of b is 2, and finally the power of b is 3. So the pattern, the first pattern that we observe is that first of all you will have to write down this. So if I write down a plus b whole to the power of say 10, so I'll be having something like a to the power of 10, then a's power will go on decreasing and b's power will go on increasing. So initially b's power was 0, so we don't have any 0th term, b 0, and then then b is introduced, and then a's power will keep on decreasing and b's power will keep on increasing, and at the end there will be no a, and we'll be left with b to the power of 10. So this is the pattern. All we need to find out is these coefficients. What will be the coefficients related to these terms? So just like here the coefficients are 1, 3, 3 and 1. Here the coefficients are 1, 2 and 1. So what are the coefficients related to a plus b whole to the power of 10 is the question that we seek to answer. Okay. Alright, so I was telling you something about the Pascal's triangle. So the Pascal's triangle actually helps us to get around this problem. So Pascal suggested a triangle which gives us the coefficients. So all you need is start with 0 and write down zeros at the ends and write down 1 and 1. So this is the initial setup you have to do. So this will actually give you the formula for a plus b whole to the power of 1. So these will be the coefficients, because a plus b whole to the power of 1 is nothing but a plus b. So these two ones give you these coefficients 1 and 1. These are the coefficients, and then what you need to do is add these two. So what is 0 plus 1? It is 1. What is 1 and 1? So you add these two terms now, so it gives you 2, and now you add these two terms, this 1 and this 0, so again you get 1, and at the end, on the extreme ends, you'll always put 0. You'll have to do it by default, so you may say that. Then again what you have to do, so this 0, 1, 2, 1 gives you the coefficients for a plus b the whole squared. So you get a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So you see 1, 2 and 1 are the coefficients. So here we are having 1, then 2 and then 1 over here. So these give us the coefficients, and in a similar manner we can keep on adding these two. So we again add this 0 and this 1, so we get 1. We then add again this 1 and this 2, we get 3. We again add this 2 and this 1, we get 3. We add this 1 and then 0, we get 1, and the extreme ends you always put 0. Sorry, this is 0 and again 0. So this now gives us the coefficients for a plus b whole cubed. It is a cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed. So the coefficients are 1, 3, 3 and 1. In a similar way, if you keep on adding these, so again 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 3 is 4, 3 plus 3 is 6, 3 plus 1 is 4, 1 plus 0 is 1, and again zeros on the extreme ends. This will give you a plus b whole to the power of 4, the coefficients for a plus b whole to the power of 4. So if I now can write down a plus b whole to the power of 4 as a to the power of 4 plus 4a cube b. So you have to follow the pattern also, that reducing the powers of a and increasing the powers of b. So the first coefficient is 4. Thereafter we have 6a square b square, then 4ab cube, and then finally b to the power of 4. Alright, so in a similar way you can keep on adding these coefficients and you will be getting the coefficients for higher and higher orders. But still there is a problem. Suppose if you want to find out a plus b whole to the power of 50, you will have to go on doing it for a long period of time. So the question still arises, do we even have a smarter way of obtaining these coefficients without doing all this? Can we just not write down straight away, find out what will be those coefficients with some formula? And the answer is yes, and thanks to Newton, who gave us a direct formula for finding out these coefficients. Okay, so what is the formula for it? We can definitely give a formula, but remember that you have to be familiar with combinations in order to understand binomial theorem, because those coefficients are directly derived using combinations. So make sure that if you haven't seen the videos on combination of A-level math, please go and click on the I button above and do watch them, because it is definitely a prerequisite for understanding this tutorial further. So if you want to understand this video even much better, please go and do watch those videos on combinations. Please do that, I strongly recommend it. Okay, now what is the formula? So let's assume that I give you a plus b whole to the power of 10. Alright, so we already know that it will be like something of the form a to the power of 10, then plus a to the power of 9b, then plus a to the power of 8b square, plus so on and so forth up till b to the power of 10. But the problem is, how are we gonna find out these coefficients? Okay, so the coefficients are 10C0, 10C1, 10C2, and so on and so forth up till 10C10. These are the coefficients. Alright, so why is this 10? This 10 is from here, and it starts with 0 and goes all the way up to 10. Alright, so these are the coefficients. Okay, so let's just check it out with what we already know. Let's write down this a plus b whole squared using this formula. So we know that it is a square, then ab, and then it is b square. So let's now use this formula. So it should be 2c0, then 2c1, and then finally 2c2. So is it coming out to be what we already know? 2c0 is 1, so it is 1a square. 2c1 is 2, so it is 2ab, and 2c2 is again 1, so it is b squared. So remember that you already have to know what combinations are. In order to solve these values, you need to learn how to evaluate these values, 2c0, 2c1, 2c2, in order to understand these things. And now we see that this formula is actually what we already know. A plus b whole squared is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So we have actually found out, or we have actually told you what is the general formula. So given any power, you have to start with that. So if I give you, say, like power 50, then it will be 50c0, 50c1, 50c2, all the way up to 50c50. And these coefficients are now determined, and this pattern you already know. It will be starting with a to the power of 50 plus a to the power of 49, then b is introduced, and then you have to keep on increasing the powers of b and decrease the powers of a, and that way you can write down the entire expression for this binomial thing in just one single line without doing anything. It's as simple as that. So isn't it great? Alright, so let me write down the general formula. So the general formula will be of the form a plus b whole to the power of n. This n can be anything, so it will be something like nc0, then a to the power of n, nc1, and then a power will be decreased and b will be introduced, then nc2, a's power is further decreased from n minus 1 to n minus 2, and b's power is increased from b to b squared. This will go on up till the end of the term, which will be ncn. A's power will be nothing now, or you can write it as a to the power of 0, or you can also omit that, and then finally b to the power of n. Okay, but what about if I want to find out what is any general term? So like this is the first term, this is the second term, this is the third term. What if I say you, okay, give me some middle term directly from of this expression? So if I ask you, hey, what will be the 13th term of a plus b whole to the power of 20, can you give me that? Okay, we will learn how to do all those things, but I need to tell you something. First of all, we need to do some observations. What are the observations? That in a plus b whole to the power of n, how many terms are we having? We are having n plus 1 terms. Why? Okay, take some examples. How many terms were there in a plus b whole squared? A plus b whole squared is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So there are 3 terms in here. Okay, how many terms are there in a plus b whole cube? There are 4 terms. A cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed. There are 4 terms in it. Alright, how many terms will be there in a plus b to the power of 4? We have already wrote down the formula, and you can go and check that there are 5 terms in it. That means whatever is this power, we are having one more term than this. So if you are having a power of 3, you'll be having 4 terms. If you're having a power of 4, you'll be having 5 terms. If you're having a power of 10, you'll be having 11 terms. So if you're having a power of n, you'll be having n plus 1 terms, right? So this is the first observation that we make. Alright, now I was talking about the general term. If I want to ask you what is in particular a middle term, say for example I want to know what is the rth term. This is particular some rth term, just like I want to find out the 13th term in here. So In general, I may be interested in finding out a particular rth term in this expansion. Okay, so second observation. In the first term, we are having NC0. In the second term, we are having NC1. In the third term, we are having NC2. That means we are having one less number in here at the leg of C. So if I say that this is the leg of C, I am having one less than the rank of the term. So if I am interested, so suppose I want to find out the 13th term of this expression. So in the leg, it will be one less than 13. Alright? Because in the first term it is 0, in the second term we are having 1, in the third term we are having 2, so in the 13th term we will be having 1 less. Alright, and this will be of course the power whatever we have here. Okay, second observation is that what are we having in the powers of A and B. So if you observe, A's power is always this n, and the difference of this n and 1, that means the difference of the head and the leg. So if I say that, okay, this is my C, so whatever here is my head and whatever is here is my leg. So in the power of A, I'm having head minus leg, and in the power of B, I'm having just the leg. See, this is the power of 1, this is the power of 2, which is the same as this 2. Here it is the power of n, which is the same as this n, and the power of A is head minus leg. Okay, so here I'll be having the power A to the power of head minus leg, B to the power of head. This will be my 13th term. So you see, that's just the patterns that you need to observe. Don't worry if you're thinking how I'm gonna understand these patterns. Don't worry, I will give you a rule of thumb and some formula that you need to directly reproduce in the examination and directly use them. But for the sake of understanding, it's very important to know how each of these formula is coming. At the end of the day, we will ourselves be using the formula, but the problem is we don't want to not understand how are these formulas coming into existence. We need to know how are we actually reaching those formulas. That is what is really important. Okay, so A plus B whole to the power of n, and in general, if I want to find out a particular r plus 1th term, then I told you that r plus 1th term will be having one less in the leg of C and n at the head of the C, and then A's power will be having n minus r because it is head minus leg, and in the power of B we'll be having just the leg r. So this is the r plus 1th term. You might be wondering why I didn't tell you the formula for rth term. You can also remember this rth term formula, but generally we use r plus 1th term because it gives us a cleaner expression. What will be the rth term? In the leg we'll be having 1 less, in the head we'll be having n, in the power of A we'll be having head minus leg, so it will be n minus r plus 1, and in the power of B we'll be having the leg. So it's not good to remember this formula, of course. Instead, we can remember this formula very easily. So what is the r plus 1th term? R plus 1th term is NCR, A to the power of n minus r and B to the power of r. There is no problem if you try to use this formula in the examination. There is no problem. You are gonna get the same results. But traditionally, all the mathematicians and the books use this formula by default. So it's better to stick to this formula. So what we have learned is that for any r plus 1th term, which we call r plus 1, tr plus 1, I'm sorry, is given by NCR, A to the power of n minus r and B to the power of r. So this formula we will be using throughout now, but we should be thankful that we now understand how we are reaching this formula. So that is what the beauty of mathematics is. You have to understand each and everything and then use them in your examples. All right, now let's make use of this formula in this example. All right, so we need to expand this thing. X cubed minus 2 by x squared whole to the power of 6. Alright, so the first term will be x cubed will be raised to the power of 6, and then minus 2 by x cubed will be raised to 6 minus 1, means we'll be reducing the power of x, and then for the second term minus 2 by x square will be introduced. Then x cube's power will be further taken down to 4, and minus 2 by x square power will increase. So remember that because this is minus over here, so we should include this minus as the second in the second term. Whatever we have discussed is the formula for a plus b. So if you are having minus, just think of this minus to be a part of b, think of this as minus b and use this instead of our b, and that's it. You just have to follow the pattern what we have already discussed. Then for the next term, x cube's power will be even further reduced and minus 2 by x square's power is further increased, and then x cubed, so all in between all of these we are having plus, then plus x cubed, and then the power of x cubed is further decreased and minus 2 by x square is power further increased to 4, and then x cube's power is further decreased to 1 and minus 2 by x square's power is further increased, and finally there is no x cube term and we are having minus 2 by x square whole to the power of 6. But the coefficients are still remaining, but that's extremely easy. The coefficients are 6c0, 6c1, 6c2, 6c3, 6c4, 6c5, and lastly we are having 6c6. But this is not the end. What still remains is you'll have to simplify all of this. 6c0 is 1, x cube whole to the power of 6 is x to the power of 18. So let me write down the expression over here in this box. I will write down the simplified expression. So the first term is x to the power of 18 and just 1 is there. 6c0 is 1. Then 6c1 is 6, so we are having 6. X cube times 5 is x to the power of 15 and multiplied by minus 2 by x squared. So we are having x to the power of 15 and this minus gets multiplied with this plus and gives us a minus out here. So we make this as our minus and then multiplied by 2 by x square. Then 6c2 is 15. Because I have practiced a lot, so I can do them mentally. If you have also practiced them, you will also be able to do them mentally. It requires just a lot of practice, and if you don't know the formula, please go and watch the previous videos. It's 6c2 is 6 times 5 divided by 2 factorial. So 6c2 is 15 and x cubed to the power of 4 is x to the power of 12 minus 2 by x squared whole squared. So minus and whole squared, so we are having minus 2 by x squared into minus 2 by x squared. So minus minus actually gives us a plus. So that is why we are having a plus outside over here. And then 2 square is giving us 4. And x square the whole square is giving us x to the power of 4. Then next term is x 6c3, which is 6 times 5 times 4 by 3 factorial. 3 factorial is 6 and 5 4 is 20. Alright. So this is 20 over here. And then x cubed the whole cubed is x to the power of 9 and minus 2 by x square will be minus into minus into minus, which will give us a minus at the end. So this minus when multiplied with this plus will give us a minus, so we'll be having a negative over here. So minus 20 x to the power of 9 and 2 to the power of 3 is 8 and x squared the whole cubed is x to the power of 6. And then I leave it to you to simplify further, and here also the terms are going to be simplified because x to the power of 15 will cancel out with x square, x to the power of 12 will cancel out with x to the power of 4, x power 9 will cancel out with x to the power of 6. All these simplifications you'll have to do. I'll leave it to you as an exercise. It's extremely easy. All I want to focus on is now just one thing. If you observe, whenever we are having a minus in the expansion, so the pattern is plus, then a minus sign, then again a plus sign, then a minus sign, a plus, the minus. So it oscillates between plus and minus. So if you're having something like a minus b to the power of something, so it'll be a to the power of something minus something plus something minus something. So it oscillates between plus and minus. So but even if you understand this thing, that's extremely okay, no problem. Alright, so let's take up another question. A plus b whole to the power of 4 plus a minus b whole to the power of 4. We have to expand this thing and then use it to find out the value of this thing. Okay, so let's do whatever they are asking us. So what is the formula for a plus b whole to the power of 4? It will be 4c0 a to the power of 4 plus 4c1 a to the power of 3b plus 4c2 a square b square plus 4c3 a b cube plus 4c4 b to the power of 4. Alright, we now know this expansion. So what are these values? 4c0 is 1, so 1 times a to the power of 4 is just a to the power of 4. 4c1 is 4 a cube b. 4c2 is 6 a square b square. 4c3 is 4 again, 4ab cube. 4c4 is 1, so it's just 1b to the power of 4 or just b to the power of 4. Now if a plus b whole to the power of 4 is this thing, then what is a minus b whole to the power of 4? It will be the same formula but with plus minus pattern. So it will be a to the power of 4 minus 4a cube b plus 6a square b square minus 4ab cube plus b to the power of 4. So it is just the same formula but with plus minus plus in this fashion. Alright, now what if you add these two things? So if you add these two, on the left hand side we'll be having a plus b whole to the power of 4 plus a minus b whole to the power of 4 is equal to a power 4 plus a power 4 is 2a to the power of 4. 4a cube b minus 4a cube b cancels out. 6 12a square b square. 4ab cube plus minus, so cancelling out. And lastly 2b to the power of 4. This is what we get on adding it. So let me erase all of these and thus just keep the end thing lastly, means whatever we are getting at the end. So this is what remains at the end. Now we have evaluated the first part, expand this thing, and we have found it out. Now they are asking use it to find out the value of this thing. Okay, so how are we going to use this? If you observe that in place of a over here we are having x square, and in place of b over here we are having root over 1 minus x square. So it is a plus b whole to the power of 4 and then a minus b whole to the power of 4. So we have to use the same formula that we have obtained in here and just put on the value of a and b. So in our above case here we are having in place of a we are having x square, in place of b we are having root over 1 minus x squared. Okay, so we are just gonna use this. So this will be equal to 2 times a to the power of 4. So instead of a we are having x square to the power of 4 plus 12 a square b square. Instead of a we are having x squared, so x squared whole square, and then in place of b we are having root over 1 minus x square and the square of this, because this is our b, so b squared. And lastly we are having 2b to the power of 4. b is root over 1 minus x squared and this raised to power 4. Alright, so on the left hand side you may copy the entire expression x squared plus blah 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 and this raised to the power of 4 plus x squared plus blah 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 minus blah 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 to the power of 4, and right hand side will be what we have already written down. And now you will have to simplify this. So 2 x to the power of 4 times 2 is 8 plus 12 x squared, the square is x to the power of 4 times root over 1 minus x square, the whole square. Root and square gets cancelled out. What we are left with is 1 minus x square plus 2 times, so it will be 1 minus x squared the whole square. And now we have to simplify this thing further. So this 2x to the power of 8 plus 12 x to the power of 4 minus 12 x to the power of 6. I have just multiplied this in each of these terms plus 2. First of all we will have to expand this. So a minus b the whole square formula we'll be using. It's a squared plus b squared minus 2ab. Alright, and now you multiply 2 in each of these terms and simplify. I leave it to you as an exercise. I hope you can understand this much. So simplify and check it out. It is given in I hope it is given in some textbooks. So let's take up next question. The general term of a binomial expression. Now we'll be taking, as of now we have taken down sums on the expansion of the binomial expression, and now we have already told you that the formula for a general term of the binomial expression is tr plus 1 is ncr a to the power of n minus r, and b to the power of r is the formula for the general term. Now I'll be making use of this formula to find out this. Find the sixth term in the expansion of this. So we have to find out the sixth term. So T6 we have to find out. Remember that you always have to write it down in this pattern, TR plus 1. So what we'll be doing, we'll be writing this as T5 plus 1. Always remember you have to write it down in this form. So if it is T8, write it as T7 plus 1. If it is T50, write it down as T49 plus 1. If it is K, write it down as Tk minus 1 plus 1. Let me write it down for you. So if they are asking you to find out Tk, write it down as Tk minus 1. This is minus 1 and then plus 1. So you already make sure that you have to write it in the form something plus 1, because that is the formula that we know, Tr plus 1. Okay, so the formula is NCR, that means n is 6 over here. Sorry, n is 9 over here. I'm so sorry. So this 9 will be at the head of C, and at the leg of the C will be having R, because TR plus 1, this R goes at the leg of the C. So whatever is here will go at the leg, and then for the power of the first term, for x by 5, we will be having head minus leg, and for the second term minus 5 by 2x. Remember that I include this minus in the second term itself, so in the power of this we'll be having just the leg. Alright, so 9c5 we'll have to evaluate. It will be 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 divided by 5 factorial, which is 120. 4x by 5 whole to the power of 9 minus 5, which is 4. So 4x by 5 whole to the power of 4, and then minus 5 by 2x whole to the power of 5. Now you'll have to simplify this. So let me do this for you, else you'll say okay, I'm not doing anything. So 4 3s are 12, 0, 4 2s are 8, 3 10s are 3 3s are 5, 2 and 10 cancels out. So what we are left with is 3 times 7 times 6, 4x by 5 whole to the power of 4. 4 to the power of 4 is 16 times 16, which is 256. This is 256 x to the power of 4. 5 to the power of 4 is 25 times 25, which is 625. And minus 5 by 2x, so minus, and there is an odd power, that means be having minus into minus into minus 5 times, so we'll be having a minus. So let me take it outside, I'll be writing a minus over here. 5 to the power of 5 is 625 times 5, it is 625 times 5 divided by 2 to the power of 5 is 32, and x to the power of 5 is x to the power of 5. And now we just need to simplify. So 625 cancels out, 256 and 32 you can cancel it out as well. So 256 and 32, 8, yes, 8 3s are 24, 16, 8 2s are 16, 8 4s are 32, and 4 again 8s are 32. So what we are finally left with is, let me write it down over here, I'm sorry for the lack of space. So it is minus 3 times 7 times 6 times 8 x to the power of 4, and at the end it was 5 is remaining, so we are having into 5 divided by x to the power of 5. Okay, so you have to multiply all of these, 3 7 6 8 and 5, and x to the power of n x power 5 are cancelling out, so you'll be having x in the denominator, and that's it. I leave it to you, there's multiplication that you can do. Next question: if the ratio of the fifth term from the beginning to the fifth term from the end in the expansion of this thing, so we are having a as this and b as this, so they are saying that if you expand this thing whole to the power of n, then the ratio of the fifth term from the beginning, so if you expand these things, you'll be getting some terms, so assume that these are the terms, so whatever you get, then fifth term from the beginning, so here we'll be having some fifth term from the beginning, and from the end also you'll be having a fifth term, so the ratio of these two terms is root 6 is to 1. Then they are asking you to find out what is the value of n. So I hope you are getting the question. On this entire expression, in this entire expansion, there will be a fifth term from the beginning and fifth term from the end. They have given you this ratio, that if you find the ratio of these two terms, you'll be getting root 6 is to 1. Then they are asking you to find out the value of n. So let me first tell you some tricks about these terms. So assume if I give you, there are 10 terms in a particular expansion. So suppose this is the first term, second term, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth and 10th. Assume that I give you there are 10 terms in some expansion. This is the fifth term from the beginning. This is the first, second, third, fourth. Fifth term from the beginning is this, and fifth term from the end is first, second, third, fourth. Okay, so this is the fifth term from the end. So can you now tell me, if I give you fifth term from the end, what is the rank of this term from the beginning? So it is 6 over here, because this 5, so this is 6. But if I increase the number of terms, suppose I give you, instead of 10 terms, I give you 13 terms over here. So 10, 11, 12 and 13. I give you 13 terms now. And if I again ask you, okay, what is the fifth term from the beginning? So fifth term from the beginning is this, and fifth term from the end is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fifth term from the end. Can you now tell me what is the fifth term from, if it is the fifth term from the end, what is the rank of this term from the beginning? So you can keep on counting it, but I want to ask you if you can find out some general formula. Okay, so there are 13 terms. There are 13 terms, and then you are finding out the fifth term from the beginning. So if you do 13 minus 5, what do you get? You get 13 minus 5 as 8. But 8 is not the fifth term from the beginning, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, ninth term is it is from the beginning. So why is it turning out to be 8? The reason is that when you subtract, then your counting starts from here. Alright, so what do you mean? What I'm saying is that, suppose I tell you to subtract 13 minus 5, what you probably do in your primary school level, you might have been told that if I ask you to subtract 5 from 13, then start counting from 6. So you count from 6, 7, 8 and then go on and reach till 13, and then you count the number of steps, so you get 8. Alright, but if I ask you to find out the fifth term from the end, then if you do 13 minus 5, then you are actually subtracting these 5 terms, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and you are actually left over here, because these are the terms that you have skipped. So all of these terms you have skipped, and you are actually giving me the rank of this. So this 8 is the rank of this term, but this is, we don't want. We want the rank of this term, fifth term from the end, right? So we have to add 1 to reach on this term. So simply, if I give you n terms and I give you that rth term from the end, what is the rank of the rth term from the end? So it will be n minus r plus 1, because when you do n minus r, you actually cancel out that term as well. This term as well you cancel out, but we don't want that. Okay, so again, to reach that term, we add 1 to it. Okay, so in a similar way, we are given fifth term from the beginning and fifth term from the end. So fifth term from the beginning is definitely 55, and if we want fifth term from the end, that will be n plus 1 is the total number of terms in the expansion. So just like I told you, if there are 13 terms in some expansion, so remember n plus 1 is the total number of terms in the expansion, because remember I told you a plus b whole square has total 3 terms, a plus b whole cube has 4 terms, so a plus b whole to the power of n has n plus 1 terms. So if you expand this thing, you will be having n plus 1 terms as a whole. You will be having n plus 1 terms. Alright, so these are the number of terms. Then to find out fifth term from the end, you subtract 5 and then add 1 to reach that term, because that on subtracting 5, you are not actually, you are cancelling out that term. You are reaching the term before that term. Okay, so we add 1 to reach that term. Okay, so what is the rank of this term from the beginning? It is 1, n plus 1 minus 5 plus 1, is n plus 2 minus 5 is n minus 3. So Tn minus 3 we have to find out. So these are the two terms that are required. Fifth term from the beginning is definitely T5, and fifth term from the end is n minus third term from the beginning. And remember that we already only know the formula from beginning. There is no formula from the end. We only know from formula from the beginning. So eventually you have to work in terms of what we already know. So we have to work in terms of T5 and this Tn minus 3, because these are the rank of the terms from the beginning. So enough of logic. So now move on to the actual question. So T5 is to Tn minus 3 is given to us. Root 6 is to 1. So make sure that up till here you're very much clear. If you're not clear, go back, rewind and again see whatever I have told you. It will be very much clear to you. So now we just have to find out these two terms. So what is T5? T5 is T4 plus 1, which is NC4, fourth root of 2 whole to the power of n minus 4, and 1 by fourth root of 3 whole to the power of 4. Okay, so know that fourth root of 2 can be written as 2 to the power of 1 by 4. This we already know. So NC4, fourth root of 2 is 2 to the power of 1 by 4 whole to the power of n minus 4, and fourth root of 3 is 3 to the power of 1 by 4 and whole to the power of 4. Now NC4 is NC4, 2 to the power of 1 by 4 to the power of n minus 4 is 2 to the power of n minus 4 by 4, and 1 by 3 to the power of 1 by 4 whole to the power of 4 is just 3 power 1. Okay, so we just multiply the power. So 1 by 4 times n minus 4 and 1 by 4 times 4. So cancelling out 4 and 4, we are just left with 1. So it's NC4 2 to the power of n minus 4 by 4 into 1 by 3. So T5 is this. Okay, so what is Tn minus 3? Let me keep some space. Okay, so we have to find out Tn minus 3. Tn minus 3 is T n minus 4 plus 1. Remember I told you that you always have to write it down in this form, Tr plus 1. Then n c n minus 4, because this is our r, ncr. Then 2 to the power of 1 by 4 whole to the power of n minus 4, because head minus leg is what we have in the power of a, and then 1 by 3 to the power of 1 by 4 to the power of leg. Alright, so it is nc n minus 4 2 to the power of 1 by 4 whole to the power of n minus n plus 4, and 1 by 3 to the power of n minus 4 by 4. Alright, so nc n minus 4 2 to the power of 1 by 4 whole to the power of n, and n cancels out, we are left with just 4, and 1 by 3 to the power of n minus 4 by 4. This 4 and 4 also gets cancelled out, and we are left with 2 to the power of 1. So we have nc n minus 4 into 2 into 1 by 3 to the power of n minus 4 by 4. Alright, so let me again make some space. Okay, so we have found out T5 and Tn minus 3, and now we are given that T5 is to Tn minus 3 is equal to root 6 is to 1. So we just write it down as T5 by T3 is equal to root 6 by 1. So what we have is nc4 into 2 to the power of n minus 4 by 4 into 1 by 3. This is T5 divided by Tn minus 3, which is nc n minus 4 into 2 into 1 by 3 to the power of n minus 4 by 4. This is given us to be root 6 by 1. Now we have to solve and find out the value of n. So I recommend you pause the video and try it yourself and match the answer. I am also doing it. So let's simplify. nc4, we leave it as nc4 2 to the power of n minus 4 by 4, and this is to the power of 1. So we can merge these powers. Remember that a power m by a power n is a power m minus n by the laws of indices. So we can merge these two terms, and then 1 by 3 can be written as, so 3 we can write down in the denominator, and this we can write down in the numerator. So you'll be having 3 to the power of n minus 4 by 4 by 3. We can write it down in this format. And then also, if you like to jump some steps, this 3 power 1 can be adjusted by in the same expression over here, and what we are left in the denominator is only nc n minus 4, and the right hand side it is root 6 by 1. Okay, now if you observe nc n minus 4, remember that ncr is equal to nc n minus r. So similarly, NCn minus 4, NCn minus 4 is equal to NC head minus leg, because this is a formula. NCR is NCn minus R, head minus leg over here. Similarly, over here we'll be having NC n minus n plus 4, head minus leg, n minus n plus 4, so it's just 4. So we can write this NCn minus 4 as NC4, and which turns out to be the same as this thing, so we can cancel it out. And whatever we are left with is 2 to the power of, we can simplify this now, 2 to the power of n minus 4 minus 4 whole divided by 4 into 3 to the power of n minus 4 divided by 4 is equal to root 6 by 1. I am omitting this by 1. Okay, so we can write this as 2 to the power of n minus 8 by 4 into 3 to the power of n minus 8 by 4 is equal to root 6. Let me again make some space. Now what we can do is we can take this power common to both of these terms. We can write it down as 2 into 3 whole to the power of n minus 8 by 4 is equal to root 6. 2 into 3 is 6. So I can write this as 6 to the power of n minus 8 by 4, and this root 6 I can write down as 6 to the power of half. So now what I have is that these two powers should be equal, because both are 6 to the power of something. So I have n minus 8 by 4 is equal to half. So I have this 2 is 2, n minus 8 is equal to 2. So I get n is equal to 8 plus 2, which is 10 as my answer. So I have got the value of n, that's it. Let's take another question. Find the coefficients of x to the power of 32 and 1 by x to the power of 17 in the expansion of this. Okay, so this is something else. We have to find out the coefficients of these two terms. So what will be the coefficient of x power 32? So whenever we expand this thing, we'll be getting somewhere x to the power of 32, and we'll be having some coefficient related to it. So we have to find out that coefficient. Okay, so the trick here is, assume that we will find out in general some rth term. We find out some rth term of this expansion, which will be 15 cr x to the power of 4 to the power of 15 minus r minus 1 by x cube to the power of r. Okay, so now let's simplify this. 15 cr x to the power of 4 is multiplied with this power 15 minus r, so it's 60 minus 4r into minus 1 to the power of r divided by x to the power of 3r. So I split the power of r on both the numerator and the denominator, and then I can simplify further by merging these two. So x power of something divided by x power of something, I can club these two by 60 minus 4r minus 3r and into minus 1 to the power of r still remains. Okay, now we have to find out the coefficient of x power 32. But we have found out that in general, whatever you put down as r, it will give you all of those terms. Okay, so if you put r is equal to 0, you get the first term. If you put r is equal to 1, you get the second term. If you put r is equal to 2, you get the third term. So by putting r equal to 1, 2, 3 and applying it in this formula, you can find out any particular term. This is what we have already known, because this is what we are using this formula. We can find out any term using this formula. Okay, but we particularly want this power to be 32, because they have asked us that what is the coefficient of x power 32? That means we want this power to be 32. So let's find out for which value of r this will be 32. So just simplify and find out what value of r will give us this power to be 32. So we get 60 minus 32 is equal to 7r. So 60 minus 32 is 28 is equal to 7r. That means r is equal to 4. So if you put r is equal to 4, you get the power of x to be 32 in this case. Okay, so we know that this, putting r is equal to 4, we get the fifth term. So if you don't believe me, find out the fifth term of this expansion and you will be getting x to the power of 32. Take my words for granted. So find out the fifth term, we will be getting x to the power of 32. All we need to do is find out the coefficient. So what is the coefficient? The coefficient is this along with this minus 1 power of r. So you have to just put down the value of r is equal to 4. So the coefficient is 15 c4 into minus 1 to the power of 4. So you simplify this, 15 times 14 times 13 times 12 divided by 4 factorial, which is 24, and you find out the answer. Minus 1 to the power of 4 is just 1, so I am leaving it in this case. So this is our coefficient, and this will give us the coefficient related to x power of 32. In a similar way, you can do this thing. I'm just giving you a hint. You try it out on your own. You have to find out the coefficient of x 1 by x to the power of 17. 1 by x to the power of 17 is actually x to the power of minus 17. So what you do, we have already find out the general term. Okay, this is the formula for the general term. This is the formula for the general term. So we want this power now to be minus 17. So you just equate it to minus 17 and find out which value of r is coming out, and you just put r over here and here, because these are the things that are giving us the coefficient, and we are done. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. Okay, find the term independent of x in the expansion. I want you to pause the video and try it out yourself. Use the same logic that we did in before, but here they are not given any power of x. Instead they are saying the term independent of x. That means x should be equal to, the power of x should be 0. We don't want x in our term. Find the term independent of x means what? Means that we don't want x. Okay, and we don't want x means x, the power of x should be 0. Okay, so tr plus 1 is equal to 15 cr 3x square by 2 whole to the power of 15 minus r and minus 1 by 3x whole to the power of r. Okay, so let's simplify it. 15 cr 3 to the power of 15 minus r. All I need to do is segregate all the other terms and segregate all the powers of x, because I have to simplify all the powers of x, because that is what I want. I want x to be in one place with all the powers accumulated at one place. So 3 to the power of 15 minus r divided by 2 to the power of 15 minus r, and x square power of 15 minus r. So we can multiply 2 with 15 minus r. 30 minus 2r is what I get. Then minus 1 to the power of r divided by 3 to the power of r into x to the power of r. This is what I get. So I separate all the powers and put it down on each and every term. The reason is that I want x to be separated. So 15 cr 3 to the power of 15 minus r. I can simplify this, 3 to the power of 15 minus r and 3 to the power of r. So by writing it as minus r, so it becomes handy for me. It's 2 to the power of 15 minus r over here. There are no other powers of 2, so I leave it as it is. Then x to the power of 30 minus 2r, and then x to the power of r we also have over here. So minus r, I can club these, and finally minus 1 to the power of r. So I have all the things separated, and I have something x to the power of something. So I want it to be 0, because I don't want x in this term. They're saying that find out that term which doesn't have x in it. That means this power should be equal to 0. So let's find it out for what value of r I'm having this power to be 0. So it's 30 minus 2r minus r is equal to 0. So it's 30 minus 3r is equal to 0. So r is equal to 10. So that means my 11th term is independent of x. because putting down r is equal to 10, I get t11. So my 11th term is independent of x, and what you do is just put down r is equal to 10 in each of these terms. So you'll be getting something x to the power of 0 over here, because we have already found out such r. So x to the power of 0 into something you'll be getting, and that will be your coefficient of x power 0. That is our answer. That is our actual term. So this is my entire term that I am seeking, that I'm looking for. Okay, now questions involving middle terms. Find the middle term in the expansion of this thing. So before going into this question, I want you to be aware of some common logics for middle terms. So there are two kinds of things that you need to know. First of all, suppose that I give you 7 terms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So what is the middle term over here? The middle term is this term, right? Because there are 3 terms to the left of it and 3 terms to the right of it. So this must be my middle term. So remember, we took 7 terms over here, right? So whenever we are taking odd number of terms, we exactly have one middle term. Okay, but what if I give you 8 terms? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There will be no one middle term, but rather there will be 2 middle terms, because there are 3 terms to the left of it, 3 terms to the right of it, and these 2 terms are the middle terms. So whenever we are having even number of terms, like in here we are having 8 terms, so whenever I give you even number of terms, there are 2 middle terms, and whenever I give you odd terms, there is one middle term. But what is the rank of this middle term? So for example, in this case, when I took 7 terms, the middle term was the 4th term. So is there any formula that you can see? If I ask you that I give you n many terms, what is the middle term? And I tell you that okay, n is odd. So what is this middle term? So I give you a formula, n plus 1 divided by 2. So the formula is n plus 1 divided by 2 will always give you the rank of the middle term. Okay, so put n is equal to 7 over here. So 7 plus 1, 8 by 2 gives us 4. So see, we're getting the 4th term as the middle term. But what about this? So if you put over here n is equal to 8, we are getting 8 plus 1 by 2, which is 9 by 2, which is 4.5. So remember that whenever you take n is something odd, you will be getting something, some integer, that will be your rank. But whenever you put something n, whenever you put n as an even number, you'll be getting something 0.5, like 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, something like that. So remember that whenever you are getting something like this, then there are 2 middle terms. So if you are getting 4.5, that means 4th term and the 5th term are your middle terms. Suppose that I give you, say, 14 terms, that I give you in all 14 terms, then 14 plus 1 by 2 gives you what? 15 by 2. 15 by 2 is 7.5. Okay, this 7.5, that means 7th term and the 8th terms are the middle terms. So remember this formula, n plus 1 by 2. So if it is giving you just one single, like 4, 5 integer, some integer value, that is your middle term. And if it is giving you something like 4.5, 5.5, 8.5, 9.5, that means there are 2 middle terms, and just halfway here and halfway here. So if it is 7.5, so it is 7 and 8. 7th and 8th terms are my middle terms. Okay, so it's just minus half and plus half. Minus 0.5 and plus 0.5 will give you the 2 terms. Okay, just like this over here is 4.5. Similarly, we'll be having 7.5 in the middle, 7th term over here and 8th term over here. So these 2 will be my middle terms, 7th and 8th terms. So in here I am given some expansion with power of 12. If the power is 12, that means there are 13 terms. I have already told you that we'll be having one more term than the power. So if there are 13 terms, then what will be the rank of my middle term? 13 plus 1 by 2, which is 14 by 2, which is 7. So all I need to do is find out the 7th term. So I need to find out T7. What is T7? It is T 6 plus 1. So it is 12C6 AX to the power of 12 minus 6 minus B by X square to the power of 6. This is head minus leg and this is leg. Now you simplify it and find out the answer, and that is our middle term. Okay, one more question on middle term. show that the middle term in the expansion of this is this big thing. Are you getting scared? No need to. It's extremely easy. Okay, let me tell you how to do it. So we are given something like 1 plus x to the power of 2n. Remember that this 2n is always even. Whatever n you put, say for example, if you put n is equal to 5, you get 2 into 5, 10. If you put n is equal to 6, you get 2 into 6, 12. Put n is equal to 7, you get 2 into 7 equal to 14. So every time you will be getting something even. So if it is 2n, what are the number of terms in this expansion? One more than this. So this is always odd, because 2n is always even and plus 1 will always give you something odd. Now I've already told you that if you are getting something odd, if you are getting odd many terms, there is always one middle term. And what is that middle term? 2n plus 1, this is my number of terms, plus 1 divided by 2. This will be the rank of my middle term, because there are 2n plus 1 terms now. Don't put as n. Now I am having 2n plus 1 terms. So instead of n, you put 2n plus 1. So it is n plus 1 by 2. So it is 2n plus 2 by 2, which is 2 common. N plus 1 by 2. 2 and 2 cancels out. N plus 1. So I have to find out Tn plus 1, and that will be my middle term. So all of my question boils down to finding out Tn plus 1, which I can find out using that formula. So I know Tn plus 1 will be 2n Cn, because this down here, whatever is in the leg, is equal to this. So 2n Cn, then 1 to the power of 2n minus n, because in place of a I am having 1, and then x to the power of n. Alright, so this is the middle term, 2n Cn, x to the power of n. This is my middle term. So we are already having x to the power of n, so we are done now. All we need to show is that this cute little thing, 2n Cn, is actually equal to this big thing. Okay, and if you remember, we have already done this in our permutations chapter. So I leave this. If you haven't seen my permutations video, I think it's part 1 of permutations, so please go and see that. No, it's not permutations, it's combinations, 2n Cn. So please go and watch that, and I leave this to you as an exercise. Still, if you want, I can give you some hint. 2n Cn is 2n factorial divided by n factorial, because NCR is n factorial by r factorial, n minus r factorial. So it is 2n factorial divided by the leg factorial into leg head minus leg factorial. So you can write this 2n factorial as this, and then all you need to do is just write down 2n factorial as 2n minus 1 up till 3 to 1, and then n factorial, and then you will have to separate it, the odd terms separate and even terms separate. I've done this in the previous videos on combinations, I'm sorry. So please go and watch the series on combinations, and you will find out the answer over there. So I'm leaving this to you as of now. Okay, so that's all for this video. I hope you like it, and there are some more examples that we're gonna take in upcoming videos. Stay tuned. We'll be taking some harder questions to keep you familiar, and so that the fear of mathematics is all gone from your head. Thanks a lot. Study hard, study smart, and stay tuned with A-level maths. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.